Hello. In this video, we are going to build an API that allows you to query data being stored in Amazon S3 Bucket Object Store service. Generally, developers do not allow people to query the data from an S3 bucket directly or expose key data directly to their consumers for security and design reasons. Instead, data is exposed to consumers via an API or application programming interface. We will demonstrate how to build out an API using Amazon API Gateway to expose that data securely. The data being stored in S3 is a record of patients which can be accessed via the internet. We have a JSON file that contains information about each patient that we are aware of. This is an example of one patient record represented in JSON. We have an ID, first name, last name, address. We are going to design a system to make that possible. One of them AWS Service API Gateway. APIs act as the front door for applications to access data. We will also use AWS Lambda, its serverless compute. This service will run your code without provisioning or managing infrastructure. Cloud9 is a cloud-based integrated development environment or IDE that lets you write, run, and debug your code in your browser. Let's start. I have already an account. My first step, open S3 service. Bucket. Create bucket. Type bucket name. Just save it. Now I have a bucket named my patient. Open bucket. Upload a file. I have already JSON file named patient. Saved. Upload succeeded. Now I am going to permissions. Scroll down. In this field, you should add a similar code like this. Who can communicate with Bucket and what it can do? Next step, open Cloud9. Account environments. Create environments. Type name. Choose your parameters. Save. Open your Cloud9. One moment. Okay. It's ready now. In my terminal, I'm going to install Boto 3. Enter the command pip install Boto 3. In the sidebar, I want to check if this cloud sees my AWS account. I see my bucket, what I created before. Also, I have another way to check connections with my account. I will create very simple script. New file. Test.py. Enter the command. Python name of file, test.py. I see what I have in my S3 service, 2 baskets. Okay, now I create a folder. Inside this folder, new file for Lambda code. I put in my file's simple code. I have a function called list patients. It can read my bucket, my JSON file in this bucket, and return a response with the body from my JSON file. Now I go into my dashboard. Open IAM. Roles. Create role. Of course, for Lambda, what my Lambda can do with S3. Choose permissions, for example, full, read, enough. Type a name for this role. Where is my full Lambda? Now copy Amazon resource names, short ARN. Put it here. This file, commands.txt, has a list of commands that I need to run in order to create a Lambda function. So, we're going to use this just to copy and paste into the terminal so that you don't have to watch me type it all out and make typos, things like that. The first thing that I want to do is I want to download AWS X-Ray SDK and Boto 3 into a target package. So, I'm going to change directories into the folder for Lambda package. Pip install AWS X-Ray SDK. Pip install Tox. Now I want to run this zip command. The next thing I want to do is change directories out of that package folder, and then I want to add the Python file to the zip file that we just created. Next, what we need to do is deploy the zip to a new Lambda function. So, we're going to call the create function API next. I'm calling AWS Lambda create function, providing the function name as list patients, the runtime as Python 3.9. The role is an ARN that points to an IAM role that already exists in this account. And we can see that this did actually successfully create the function. Notice we have things like function name, memory size. Those are configurable attributes of your Lambda function that you could define in your API call if you wanted to not accept the defaults. So, now our Lambda function is created. What I want to do now is invoke it to test it out. It actually created an output.txt file for me after it runs. Go to your dashboard, and from here click Services and then go to Lambda. Select your function. Notice, it was last modified 2 minutes ago, so 2 minutes ago we created it, and let's go ahead. This is the function code. If your code size or your code package is small enough, You can actually edit your code directly in line on this page. And what I want to do now is show you how to test your Lambda function from the AWS console. So if we click test, and then I provide an event name, just call it test. And then I want to send in a blank payload first, which means that I would expect to see the whole body from my JSON file. Go to your dashboard, and from here click Services and then go to API Gateway. Build new API. New API. API name. Actions. Create resource. Resource name. Click Enable, create resource. Next, create method. Options, get. Choose a mock, it's mean not need backend, this is just test. 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 No data. Go back. Integration response. Click here. Mapping templates. Type application/JSON. Confirm. Same file from S3 bucket. I open in my code redactor. Also I have another file, patientmodel.json. Copy all. Paste. Save. Go back to test. Test. I see response with whole body. Now I'm going to change this code to VTL format. I have to add some lines of code. Save. Go back to test. Test. Query strings I put my request ID equals 2, return ID equals 3 because in VTL code it was with hashtag else. Try again ID equals 1, return ID equals 1. The name Anna returns block number 3 again, because in the VTL code it was with the hashtag else. Change the name to Rosa, return block number 2 with the name Rosa. Next step. Actions. Create method, post. Choose a mock, it's mean not need backend, this is just test. Save. In the sidebar, select a models. Create. Model name. Content type application/JSON. Put schema from a model JSON file. Copy all. Paste. Save. In the sidebar, select Resources. Post. Method request. Request body. Add model application/JSON. My model name. Confirm. Request validator. Validate body. Confirm. Go back to test. Test. I try to send empty request. Response or request body does not match model schema. I added another one patient. Test. Now my request succeeded. Now, get. Integration request. Change integration type on Lambda function. Use Lambda proxy integration. From Lambda service. Copy ARN. Passed in Lambda function. You see the name of your function. Save. Go back to test. Test. I sent an empty request. I see the response in the whole body from my JSON file. Check your Lambda function. You can see that it works.